What up, what up? This is Finance, Fitness, and Folk, the channel where we discuss finance, a little bit of fitness, talk about some folk. So today's episode, I'm going to discuss how you're supposed to have money work for you, don't work for money. So thanks again to all my subscribers. I have a couple of more subscribers since my last video, so thank you for subscribing to the channel. I hope this video and other videos I've made in the past give you leverage to better yourselves. So let's get into it. So there's this guy that I've researched and looked at for a couple years. His name is Robert Kiyosaki. I'm not going to get into the details of who he is or what he does. Please do your own research. But in essence, he created a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So in this video, not a video, in this book, he pretty much discusses how he had two fathers. He had one father that worked for money and one father that had money work for him. So once again, I won't get into the details of the book. Please read it yourself. It's an excellent book. You'll see that there's a lot of YouTubers and a lot of entrepreneurs that have actually used this book as a foundation for their mindset when it comes to wealth, when it comes to making money. I've read it myself and actually listened to the audiobook of it, and it was life-changing because we are in a society, especially in America, where we're taught that we need to graduate high school, which is nothing wrong with that, go to college, get a job, invest in a 401k or some type of retirement fund, work until we're 65 or whenever we get to the age that Social Security kicks in, and then live off retirement and save to live off retirement. And in the in between, we get sick and we have to take care of family. We miss all these important dates when it comes to significant events in our lives, and we pretty much just become slaves to a job. I know that's a kind of a bad term to use, but basically we just get married to a job, and we just get into a place in our lives where making money is more important than anything, because you have to make money to survive. I totally understand that, but there are some folks in this world that they use money to work for them. They don't work for money. The rich don't work for money, y'all. They don't. And there's a whole bunch of, I would say, for lack of a better word, secrets that were kept from society to keep people in power, keep people in place when it comes to the wealthy versus the poor. But we have the internet now. So with the invention of the internet, there's really no excuse for anybody not to have knowledge when it comes to how money is supposed to work for you. So there's a couple of mechanisms that you can use to have money work for you. And I will say that every single person that I've researched over the last couple of years, one mechanism that is almost prominent in every single person I've ever seen that created some type of wealth for themselves is owning real estate. So there's another guy that I've seen on YouTube where he flipped houses first before he actually invested in actually buying property. And it made sense because what he did was, and this is what he said as well, I'm kind of paraphrasing here when I say this, but he pretty much said that in order for him to understand how he was going to be able to leverage buying homes and actually having those homes give him residual income, he needed to understand how flipping a house works, as far as what you're supposed to do when you actually fund the house, buy a house, fix the house up, talk to investors, being able to talk to banks to get loans, all of that. And he said once he mastered the skill set of being able to buy a house, fix a house up, flip a house, meaning that you sell the house and then you use that money to invest back into buying another house, and then you keep compounding that money until you build enough funds or savings to where you're actually able to buy property and actually put tenants in that property, and being able to collect rent and have enough properties to be able to keep up with maintenance. Because one thing that I will say when it comes to buying property, and I'm not going to get on a tangent when it comes to this, because the video is about having money work for you. Don't make money, don't work for money. So when you buy an investment property, you have to understand that you have to look at the market that you're buying in. You have to make sure that what you're buying makes sense, because there's a lot of folks that buy property and they think that I'm just going to buy one house. I'm going to, have the rent at a price point to where somebody's paying my rent, but also being able to pay the loan off, every single month, and they have enough money left over, so I'm getting some type of residual income. But what folks understand is that depending on how the condition of the house is, and you pay tax on the house, you have a lot of folks that become upside down when they buy these properties, because it's not enough money coming in to keep up with the maintenance. And then you wind up having to sell the house. Hopefully you're able to sell the house, because if you don't, that means that you may take a hit, because you may have tenants that leave. Sometimes when you buy properties in certain areas, the tenants are not all that great, so they tear the house up. You have to pay for it to get the house renovated. It's just a whole bunch of things that happens when it comes to buying properties for investment. So what he was suggesting was that you buy a house, understand how a house works, for it's like what people look for in the house, for it's like how the kitchen looks, aesthetics, as far as like what kind of carpet is the carpet in the living room, is there hardwood in the living room, the appliances, all these things. And then you sell the house for a profit that's more than what you bought it for. You keep doing that process over and over and over and over again. So once again, real estate is one of the main mechanisms that I've seen as far as like folks that are able to build wealth and able to have money work for them. I have seen folks that that actually do investments as far as like the stock market, cryptocurrency, but those are intricate things that you can do that, but you have to know what you're doing. And that reels me into another thing. So a lot of these folks that have wealth, they have mentors. They have folks that actually did it themselves first, and then they go to these folks that did it before they did, and they ask questions, they mirror them, they follow them, all these things. But one thing I will say is that for every single person that I've researched that actually said that they actually had a mentor, they made sure that they were able to provide something to that mentor, instead of them receiving knowledge and just receiving knowledge. They went to them and they said, hey, look, I have a question about something. What can I do for you, for you to give me this knowledge? So it's a give and take process, because you don't want to be a person that like, I just want to get free game and not provide anything. That's not how the world works. There's $1 million transaction that takes place on golf courses, tennis courts, all of these things, right? Just regular transactions that's going on all the time. There's so much money in this world, man. It's just unbelievable. If you really think that money runs out in the world, you are mistaken, because it's an abundance of it all around the world. There are folks that I've researched that actually, they said that they could spend probably $10,000 in a day. And I'm talking about just for doing whatever. So it doesn't matter, if they're going out to eat, if they're going out to, maybe they're taking a trip to, maybe another state, another country, taking an airplane to go to that place. It's crazy. You got folks out here that have no respect for money. But then you also have the flip side of it, where you have folks that are struggling just to pay a light bill that may be only $300. And they could spend that in shoes, and it's nothing, So, but what I will say is that these folks that actually have no respect for money, they have money work for them. They're not busting their tails for a 12 hours, 7 day a week job. They're not doing that. They found some kind of way to have money work for them, not to work for money. Now, I will say that initially they probably work for money, absolutely, because that gives you the foundation of how money works. But eventually their goal is to be able to actually have money work for you. There are folks that are in dire need of medical assistance, but they can't get their medical assistance because they can't take off of work, because they have to work for money. It's crazy, and that's one of the reasons why the health system in America is going to being I want to say probably $1 billion, if not $1 trillion business, because you have so many people, you have more people that are sick than healthy people, because these folks cannot take off of work, because if they take off of work for one day, it's a problem. Like, I mean, like, one day word miss could mean the difference between paying a mortgage or paying the rent. And I'm telling you that if you are in a position where that's the case right now, you need to really, really take a hard look at your life and make a decision. You know, do I want to bust my tail for the rest of my life until the day I die to work for money? Or do I want to figure out a way to have money work for me? And yes, it would be a process. It may be painful, it may be smooth, who knows? It all depends on how you go about doing this thing. But find some kind of way to have money work for you. And like I said, do your own research. I'm gonna make some videos to give you some ideas of how to have money work for you. But get into that mind state that you need to make sure that you eventually move into a position in your life where you're having money work for you, whether it be residual income, where there's somebody actually paying you for a service, and you may have folks that are working for you. Maybe would it be a business? I mean, it could be any kind of mechanism, but have money work for you. That's how the rich stay rich. They don't work for money. These folks look good, y'all. You know what I'm saying? They're not stressing. They're not doing none of that stuff because every single day they're waking up to a bank account where it's ching all day long. It's from the time they wake up to the time they go to bed, they have money going to the bank account from residual income that they created on their own. So let's get to the money, y'all. Let's have money work for us, all right? Like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna keep pushing these videos out to give you leverage to better yourselves. Finance, Fitness, and Folk. Triple F, I'm gone.